Welcome back to Showcase. Today, we're going to be taking a look at Nemesis Prime and his army. But before we get started, big thanks to Fried Chicken Bro for requesting this video. If you have any requests, leave them down in the comments and I'll try and get to all of them. For weapons, the Nemesis repair drone has its cannons, and its torso can extend, and Nemesis's mini-cons can turn into weapons. Moving on to transformations, starting with the Nemesis. Head in, arms up, legs up, wheels down, and bring the grill out, and we have Nemesis in the truck mode. Next, Nemesis hauler, lay him flat, head in, arms into place, legs up, wheels down, and we have Nemesis hauler in his trailer mode. Next, Nemesis roller, lay him flat, head in, front of the vehicle up, arms in, legs up, bring the back of the vehicle back, and we have roller in his vehicle mode. And both rollers share a transformation. Next, Nemesis repair drone, extend the torso, head in, arms in, window into place, bring the cannons around, legs up, and we have the repair drone in its vehicle mode. Next, Fangtron, bring him up, head in, tail up, and we have Fangtron in his shield mode. Finally, Giza, head in, legs up, wings around, and we have Giza in his sword mode. And before we get onto the lore, I'll also be including lore for Megatron X in this video. He's a direct recolor of Megatron, so you can find his transformation in my G1 Megatron video. Now moving on to the lore I've written for these guys in my series, Siege World. Last week we looked at Megatron, and at the end of that story, I mentioned that Megatron's body was stolen long after his death. That wasn't unique to just Megatron. Both his and Optimus Prime's bodies were stolen by a bot named Sideways. Sideways was one of the many creations of Unicron, and by far, one of the most influential. Sideways was a foreign for both the Autobots and Decepticons for years. As he gained infamy amongst both groups, he had to take a step back, operating in the shadows. He started by sending his dwindling forces to break into an Autobot mausoleum and retrieve the long-dead body of Optimus Prime, one of the Autobots' most famous leaders. While he journeyed deep under Cybertron to find Megatron's tomb. When he arrived, he killed its guards, Soundwave and his cassettes, and took Megatron's body. Once he had their bodies, he implanted new sparks into them, provided by Unicron, and prepared to send them back to their respective armies. Originally, Sideways planned to use clones made by Unicron himself, but using Optimus and Megatron's original bodies would allow these new creations to pass any tests the Autobots and Decepticons could throw at them. He sent these new creations back to their armies. At the time, both the Autobots and Decepticons were ruled by other bots named Optimus and Megatron. To avoid confusion, I'll be calling them Armada Optimus and Megatron, as they're based on the Armada versions of the characters. And if you're wondering why there's more than one Optimus and Megatron, years after the First Great War, many bots would name themselves after Optimus and Megatron. Think of it like someone naming themselves after a famous person. That's why we can have so many bots named Optimus, Megatron, or even Bumblebee and Starscream. Essentially, if a bot's famous enough, someone's gonna name themselves after them. Both Armada Megatron and Optimus were just the newest in a long line of leaders named and inspired by Optimus and Megatron. When Optimus and Megatron made their way back to their armies, there was a lot of skepticism. But after months of tests, these seemed to be their greatest leaders back from the grave. The Autobots and Decepticons had very different reactions to their leaders' return. After all, there were almost no bots alive from the First Great War. Millions of years had passed. The Decepticons would split, and many bots would abandon their only leader for the original Megatron. After all, he's a hero of legend. They'd been told stories of his greatness when they were young. The Autobots were more stable. Their leaders were selected for their brain, not their brawn. So when the first Optimus Prime returned, many assumed that he would rejoin their ranks in an advisory position. Since they were young, the Autobots were told stories of a bot who stepped up when he was needed and died fighting for freedom. But Optimus wasn't like that, at least not anymore. But no one had any first-hand accounts, not even second. So when he wasn't like the stories, many bots just assumed they were just that. Stories. Optimus asserted his right to leadership, claiming that he was the Autobots' rightful leader. And to many bots, he was convincing. After all, even if he wasn't as nice and heroic as the stories, he was still a hero of legend, one of the Autobots' greatest leaders. This created the first major rift in the Autobots' ranks since the Autobot Civil War years ago. For the Decepticons, this was a far more common occurrence. They would often have short-lived civil wars being led by the strongest in their ranks. But something was different this time. This power struggle was far more violent. Even the Autobots were more violent. The group under Optimus was on the offensive, seeing Armada Optimus as an imposter to the title of Prime. Optimus and Megatron would forge an alliance, renaming themselves Nemesis Prime and Megatron X respectively. With this new alliance, they started to crush the Autobots and Decepticons, forcing Armada Optimus and Megatron to forge an alliance of their own. This would lead to a short-lived war known as the War of the Primes. Sideways' goal with this war was to stoke the tensions between the Autobots and Decepticons, but his new creations were far too successful, and once the Autobots and Decepticons formed an alliance, Sideways knew what he had to do. Unicron wanted constant war amongst the Cybertronians, so this common enemy had to go. He made his way to Nemesis and Megatron's base, and assaulted it with his dwindling army of sweeps. He lost most of his forces before he made it inside, but Sideways thought he would be enough to take out Megatron and Nemesis himself. And after a long fight, Sideways was victorious, but he had lost the Minicon and most of his army in the fight, so he would be out of action for the foreseeable future. With Nemesis and Megatron X dead, their armies would start breaking apart, leaders among the group taking their followers and forming groups of their own, all claiming to be Nemesis' rightful successor. The alliance between Armada Optimus and Megatron quickly fell apart as they focused on dealing with the remnants of Nemesis and Megatron X's armies. The war would fully come to an end years later, once every holdout was destroyed or surrendered, and every colony was back under its respective group's control. Both the Autobots and Decepticons were left weak after this war, so it would be a long time till either side was considering any kind of hostility. Overall, this plan was a failure for Sideways, only strengthening the growing interest among the Cybertronians for peace. When it came to writing the lore for this episode, I really wanted to shine a spotlight on some of the smaller scale conflicts. Not everything's a great war, but most of the time that's what I end up talking about. I also wanted to take this opportunity to explain again why bots share names. When it came to Nemesis, he doesn't really have anything going on in most of Transformers. In IDW, he was just Nova Prime with a new name. In the movies, he was just Optimus being brainwashed. He's never really had much of a character of his own. Sure, we see him a lot, but that's just because he's an easy repaint. It was kind of a blank canvas. My main inspiration for him was the G1 episode Dark Awakening. In that episode, Optimus comes back in what's essentially as a zombie. I started with that basic idea, and had Sideways bring him back for Unicron. I took a bit of inspiration from Galvatron for that part. For Megatron X, he's originally Megatron for another universe, but that doesn't really fit in with what I've got going on in Siege World. And I like the idea of both Megatron and Optimus being brought back together with a common goal. And to be clear, this isn't a case of brainwashing or reprogramming. These are new sparks implanted in Optimus and Megatron's bodies. They may have Optimus and Megatron's memories, but that's only to help them in their new roles. Ultimately, both of them were made by Unicron with one purpose, and there was no way they were ever going to turn back to the side of good. For the rest of Nemesis's guys, they didn't really fit into the general story I was telling. They're mostly just generic Autobots who joined Optimus. I've been trying to keep the lore mostly focused on one story. And I didn't want to interrupt it with lore about these guys. Overall, they don't really have much to them. Nemesis Holler as Nemesis' bodyguard, transforming into his trailer. The repair drone works as their medic, and the rollers are just generic soldiers, being made at a very small scale, but still mass-produced. Fangtron and Giza are just Nemesis' pets, similar to Soundwave's cassettes. Obviously these guys are all recolors. Most were recolored from their Optimus Prime versions. Nemesis Roller being from Roller, Nemesis Holler being from Holler, that sort of thing. Giza's original toy was an Arms Micron, so he'll probably get recolored into that whenever I start doing the Arms Micron. And Fangtron's recolored from an Earthrise toy, and I'll get to him eventually as well. Right now, I don't have any plans to give any of these guys a spotlight video. I have some plans to use Megatron X further into Siege World's main story, and the rest, I already have bots that fill that spot, so I'd rather include some reoccurring characters that I can give more screen time to, and give some more development to, rather than add another bot to the story. Anyway guys, that's it for this video. On Sunday, I've got another Duck Sunday rant for you. We're going to be seeing how many Universe 1.0 toys we can recreate with modern molds. I'm hoping to have another spotlight ready for Wednesday, that one being on Motormaster, but I'm not 100% it'll be done in time. I was in a bit of a rush this week trying to finish off Siege World Episode 4 in time, so I haven't had much time to work